Alright, what's up, gamers? It's me. So today, on today's episode of Today, I will be delivering my fantastic theory in Deltarune, about how Jevil and Spamton robbed a gas station. So it's kind of a two-part story. So I'll draw a diagram here. So this is a two-part story, okay? So, as we know, on this side, we'll start with Jevil's side of the story. So as we know, Jevil, according to Sham, was a funny little man until one day he met a strange someone. So he met someone. So we don't know who this someone was. However, we do know that after he met the someone, he began to say things that, quote, didn't entirely make sense, but didn't entirely not make sense either, end quote. As such, I assume, based on Spamton's strange pattern of speech and a number of other circumstances, that this was Spamton. So I believe that this strange someone Jevil met was, in fact, Spamton. So, Jevil and Sham, as the court jester and magician, respectively, were pretty darn successful, as they were serving all four kings. However, one day, the knight showed up and locked away, or caused three of the kings to be locked away, for whatever reason. Now, I won't make any claims as to who exactly the knight is, as this is very controversial, and we all know it's Barack Obama anyway. So, as we know, after this, the remaining king decided that he had no use for a court jester or a court magician, and as such, they were essentially fired from their jobs. Please excuse the construction noise. They do not appreciate my theory, presumably. So, at this point, Sham and Jevil are left jobless and homeless. Now, because we can assume that Sham was able to succeed somehow, because he has a shop, and we can assume that the Lightners are not the only ones to visit his shop. Otherwise, that wouldn't be any good. So Jevil is fired. So, we can write this on our timeline, so to speak. So, after Jevil was fired, he is homeless and jobless. Okay? Pretty crummy place to be for a person who was formerly pretty darn good at his job. Now, let's go to Spamton's side of the story. So, on Spamton's side of the story, we know a little bit more about debatably, I would say we do know a little bit more about Spamton's side of the backstory than we do, Spamton's backstory than we do about Jevil's. As such, we know that Spamton dreamed of becoming a big shot, so to speak, of becoming successful and rich. And he was able to, through he was able to become rich because of something that started helping him. Now, we don't know for a fact what this thing that started helping him was. And for the sake of this theory, I will leave that as a mystery, whether that was Gaster or Sans or the Kool-Aid Man or whoever ended up helping him. That will remain as a mystery. Regardless, we know that something started helping him. So, wanted to be big, want to be big, my fantastic handwriting, and then he becomes big with help. So, as we know, he became big, so to speak. He became successful and rich, and even gained a spot in Queen's Mansion. However, then he was booted out once his help stopped coming for whatever reason. So he's booted out. He's booted with a capital B. Make that a capital B. So, at this point, he is homeless and jobless. He is homeless and jobless. What a most misfortunate fortune. So, at this point, Jevil and Spamton are both homeless and jobless. Now, somehow, we can assume they met each other and decided, hey, let's go beat up some dudes or to get some money. And so they're like, great. So they decided to collaboratively rob a gas station. So this is where their parts of the story combine. They rob gas station. They rob the gas station. So at this point, they've robbed a gas station. However, their ways part once more when Jevil is caught in the act and he is arrested. However, sorry about the buzzsaw. He is arrested, so Jevil is arrested and caught by Sham. As Sham never directly says why he locks away Jevil, he just says that he was the only one, his only companion, and was forced to. So, he is arrested and ends up in the jail that you find him in if you choose to fight him in Chapter 1. And Sham, not at all wanting to release Jevil, decides to break the key, split it up into 3 places, and voila, you have to do all kinds of crazy crap to do it. Now, Spamton, on the other hand, is much more. He is more successful at this, as he doesn't get arrested. He manages to escape somehow. However, he still is not left in a much better position than he started with at the end, as he is now once more a hobo living in a dumpster. And the dumpster is the dumpster that you end up finding him. So now he ends up living in a dumpster. So, as such, we have both of them. Either one, Jevil has been arrested and ends up in the cage, jail, whatever you would call it that we see him in, and Spamton ends up living in a dumpster. Now, so both of these people are pretty much crummy. So, this is a pretty impeccable theory. However, there is one major flaw, and that is that it could be argued that it is not possible for Darkners from different Dark Worlds to interact. However, we know that this is not the case, as Sham says that he is happy to see the Queen again, and this means that he somehow met the Queen before. He also has evidently met Spamton, and he says that he says that as when you bring him the Dark Crystal from defeating Spamton Neo, he says, that crooked old salesman had the Dark Crystal. So from here we know that he had the Dark Crystal, and that Sham had met Spamton before, or at least was aware of his existence. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is my completely impeccable theory about how Spamton and Jevil robbed a gas station.